In September, I gave a speech to the City Club of Chicago where I started off the speech in front of the audience with these particular numbers. These happen to represent the job growth numbers in the states in the Midwest since 2009. Well, by today, those numbers have changed and they've even gotten worse. It is a decline in the manufacturing sector that should be alarming to us. And a loss of the manufacturing sector is a concern that all of us should have with the disappearing of the middle class. And with no net job growth in this state in the last 9 or 7 years should be of concern to everyone in this room. In January of 2000, 877,000 manufacturing jobs were here. Today, 573,000. A loss of 304,000 jobs. And they just don't represent statistics of job loss. They represent the impact on families. The loss of the hopes and dreams of many in the middle class in our state. Overall, the stagnant growth rate of jobs in Illinois is alarming. Yes, we had the Great Recession in 2007 and 8, and it has taken Illinois longer than most of our neighboring friends, that literally we have only 5,000 net new jobs in this state since the turn of the century. Then in mid-2000s, another startling statistic came about when we crossed the Rubicon that there are actually more people employed in government than there is in manufacturing in this state. And that gap continues to grow today. The IMA Board of Directors is very alarmed at this, as we are, and has directed us to be on a campaign to make sure that people, our leaders and citizens, understand this job loss. We believe it's very simple of what the plan ought to be to get Illinois back on its feet. We should get Illinois' fiscal house in order. We should have meaningful workers' comp reform. We should have tax reform that increases the opportunity for job growth. And we need property tax reforms to be able to stem the loss from our local communities. Since September, IMA has been conducting a targeted outreach program to the citizens in key districts across Illinois. And we've been talking about the importance of issues like workers' comp. In all, we have placed more than 40 million ads on phones, computers, tablets through our XPS affiliate. Those ads resulted in nearly 50,000 visits to our website. It outlines the problem and talks about the solutions. But too many in the Illinois General Assembly, I'm afraid, and not many of those who are here today don't fall into this category, but too many of them do not recognize the truth that Illinois is losing jobs because of short-sighted policies that drive businesses to greener pastures. All of these communications in the world is not going to change this. We must start putting Illinois back on its feet again. Governor Bruce Rauner has stood steadfastly with us in making these points, that economic reforms must be passed. He has placed workers' compensation at the top of his items for reform. We support his efforts and we proudly stand with him in trying to make changes in Springfield. That's why it's very appropriate today that we ask the governor to lead off this luncheon, to talk about where we are in that fight, enlisting our support and help for his efforts so that those job numbers can start to be reversed and changed. Governor Rauner, please welcome him as he comes to the podium today. Governor, we thank you for your efforts. We will continue to support those. Now, every once in a while, we do have a disagreement in the family, and we won't get into that today, but I had to at least acknowledge that.
I'll get into it then.
Right. But the governor has done so far a superb job, and we want to continue that support, and we look forward to your remarks today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. It's an honor for me to be back here with you. Simple fact is, your success is Illinois' success. If you're thriving, the people of Illinois are thriving and they're having a great future. And if you are struggling, if you're declining, if you're not competitive, Illinois is hurting. Illinois does not have a good future. That's why 100% of what you're advocating, I'm advocating. Everything you're fighting for, I'm fighting for. Manufacturing is the foundation of Illinois' prosperity, and that's been a fact for 100 years. And I hope and believe we are on the verge of a massive resurgence in manufacturing in America, and I want to make sure Illinois is helping lead that resurgence so that we are a powerhouse engine of manufacturing jobs and prosperity in the coming decades. I am 100% committed to that. Now, we said thank you to Bill Hickey and the board of directors. Thank you for your leadership. I would like to say a special thank you. You've got an incredible team, an incredible staff here at the IMA. I have been proud to work with them. They have been steadfast allies in pushing for reform and positive change in Springfield. Gregg Baise, Mike Densler, the whole team. Mark, thank you. Greg, thank you. Your entire staff. Give some round of applause for the team at the IMA staff. I just drove up from Springfield this morning. I just came in about half an hour ago because I wanted to get here for this lunch. I want to give you an update. There's obviously a lot going on in Springfield. We're at a key turning point in Illinois' history. So much is on the line. Fundamental question, are we going to stay on the long, slow road of decline that we've been on for decades? Job losses, higher taxes, more deficits, more debt, lousy funding of schools, cronyism, patronage, ineffective government, wasteful bureaucracy. Are we going to stay on that track, or are we going to go in a new direction? More prosperity, more growth, more investment, more job creation, higher family incomes, lower property taxes, the best schools in America in every school district, and a government that works for the people, not for special interests or not for the benefit of the politicians. We have a fundamental decision to make, a fundamental fork in the road. More of the same that we've been on for decades, or a new direction. That's very simply what's on the line, and we're fighting it hard every day. Now let me talk about a couple things. First, Greg referred to it. Let's touch on the Exelon bill. This has been a very important topic. Let me tell you something. I'm not particularly happy with what's transpired on it. I personally, philosophically, am opposed to special deals. I don't like corporate welfare. I don't like corporate subsidies. Here's a simple fact. We got to deal with the cards that we're dealt, and in America, energy and energy policy fundamentally is built on special deals and subsidies. They're rampant in the energy policy of America and in virtually every state. We subsidize solar, we massively subsidize wind, we subsidize and help in nuclear, we put up regulatory burdens hostile to natural gas and coal. The government is intricately intertwined with our energy generation. I'm a free market person. I like open, level playing field, limited involvement from the government. That's my personal philosophy, personal belief. But I got to deal with the cards that were dealt. And that bill was fast-tracked. It was coming to my desk. And we were going to make darn sure that we did everything we can to protect ratepayers and protect taxpayers and make sure we can stay competitive in Illinois and grow our economy. That's what we fought to do. The outcome's not perfect, but I'm proud of where we were able to get that bill. We cut out billions and billions in pork barrel spending and unnecessary stuff that got attached onto the Christmas tree of a bill when it was first coming through. And we put very tight restrictions on the amount of electricity cost increases that could come about through this agreement with Exelon for them to keep those two plants open for the next 10 years. Tight restrictions. 25 cents on the typical consumer's bill, the absolute most, and 1.3% for businesses at the most. And I've got to tell you this, my frustration with this process has been, I'm frustrated with a lot of things in Springfield, but this bill, I've never seen an issue that had experts, supposed experts, more divided. You know, we would ask people from around the country, tell us about the energy markets, tell us about costs, what's going to happen? And we had experts say, if those two nuclear plants closed, energy costs in Illinois would go up significantly over time, more than any particular subsidy. I had experts telling me this, and our own Illinois Commerce Commission, which isn't biased towards getting involved, saying that to me. I had other people say, no, those plants close, it doesn't matter. Energy costs over time will go down, and the loss of those two plants won't matter. Don't get involved in any subsidies. And so we had fundamental, massive disagreement. And meanwhile, thousands of important high-paying jobs are on the line, and the future of communities, major communities in Northwest Illinois and Central Illinois are on the line. So we have to come to a prudent decision as best we can. We did the best we could. I'm proud of the outcome, don't love it, but we did it. And we want to make sure we stay competitive and we grow the Illinois economy and we help you stay competitive. And that's what we believe we've done. So, it's done. We're going to move on and now focus on growth and positive expansion for all you guys. Now let's talk about where we are with our budget and our pro-growth reforms. I've asked, since the election, I've asked to meet with the legislative leaders every day. They haven't been willing to do that. I wanted to meet today. They said they can't. Want to meet Monday, they said they can't. They did say that they could meet this weekend, so I said fine. So we're going to meet tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. They said they could meet Sunday. I said great, we're going to meet 10 a.m. Sunday morning. And I told them I'll meet 24/7, anywhere they want. Let's get a truly balanced budget with reforms. Truly balanced budget with reforms. No more stopgaps, deficit spending to live from one 6-month period to another that just creates more deficit and more debt. Let's not do that anymore. That's a failure for the people of Illinois. And I said, if you're going to insist on that, as you have for the last 2 years, then I will absolutely insist that we at least begin to make the reforms that are needed. It's not the full answer, but I will insist for the people of Illinois, we start the reform process. And no matter what you push for a stopgap, 2 things have to be included. Term limits on elected officials and a true permanent property tax freeze, so taxpayers get to vote in a referendum whether our property taxes go up or not every time they want to raise our property taxes. Simple, bipartisan, massively supported by the people of Illinois. Overwhelmingly supported by Democrats, both of those issues. Overwhelmingly supported by Republicans on those issues. So massively supported by independent voters on those issues. So don't say, oh, we got an excuse, we can't do that, or it's debatable, or it's too politically hard. Baloney. Baloney. We can do this, and doing those 2 changes can directly impact the budget in the long term, because we'll send a message to job creators around America and around the world that it's a new day in Illinois. We're actually starting to change our system. Simple fact is, the states that have put term limits on elected officials are more fiscally responsible than states who don't. That's a fact. That is a fact. And we can tell the world, the job creators who need to come here to build more good companies, good manufacturing firms, that now our democracy is going to be working. We're going to have people in government who are there for the right reasons. They're not there for their personal benefit, for the long term. They're there to make some good common sense decisions and then get out and go back to the real world. Just like George Washington did when he founded America. We didn't become another one of those banana republics with false democracy because George Washington, who could have been king, he said, no, I'll work for 8 years and I'll get out. Even though I control the military, I'll get out. Even though I control everything in government, I'll get out. I'll let other leaders emerge. We need that philosophy in Illinois government. And don't... And when they try to spin it, oh, it has nothing to do with the budget, Governor, don't talk about it. Baloney. Has everything about balancing the budget for the long term. Responsible people who are there for the right reasons will do the right thing for the budgets. This is the long-term necessity to get balanced budgets. The other thing we've got to do many things, but our property taxes are our most uncompetitive tax. We have the highest property taxes, us in New Jersey. And I don't want to compete with New Jersey on anything, but us in New Jersey have the highest property taxes in America. And it's crushing our working families, it's crushing our homeowners, and it's crushing our small business owners. I can't tell you how many manufacturing firms have told me, Governor, one of the reasons we're leaving is because of our property taxes, especially in Cook County, especially out around O'Hare Airport where they want to be. They said, we can't afford our property taxes. One firm told me, we're moving to Nashville. You know what? Our property taxes for a bigger plant are 1/4 of what they are here. Another firm told me, we're moving to Dallas, and our property tax bill is going to be cut by 80%. We've got to start to get a handle on our property taxes. One of the ways we can do it is make sure the voters have to vote when they're going to get hiked. Let's do a referendum and get a yes or up or down vote. Not that hard, very straightforward. Let's start to put some pressure on the system to bring down that property tax burden. And then if we layer in the reforms that we're also pushing, government consolidation, unfunded mandate relief, we can really change the system. But let's get a down payment. Let's start. Term limits, property tax freeze. Now, my preference is not a stopgap with those two reforms. My true interest is a balanced budget, truly balanced budget with pro-growth reforms. More jobs, lower taxes, better schools. We've got to get investment in our schools. Our teachers and our kids are our future. We've got to make our kids number one priority. Money from the taxpayers should go to our schools first, not last. I don't know if you guys know this, we're the worst state in America for funding our schools. We give a lower percentage of school funding of any state in America. Come on, we should have the best schools in America. And by the way, we should include vocational training and technical training within our school budgets so we have young people trained with the skills to come work for your companies, manufacturing and building things with the technical skills. We can do this right in high school. We don't have to wait, and we can make it part of the core curriculum, and we can properly fund it so that we don't have, I travel the state, people say, Governor, I'm a manufacturer in Danville, I got openings for 6 welders, I can't find them. I got openings for 12 maintenance folks, I can't find them. You know what? And then meanwhile, we have some of the highest unemployment rates in many of our communities. We have a breakdown in the system. We're not training our young people for the jobs that are available. And too many young people look at the curriculum and they don't see where it takes them. If we're giving them the skills to come work for you guys, they'll see where they can go, and they can come right out of high school, make 48 grand being a welder, and they can go right to it. And the siren call of the gangs won't be as powerful. They'll see an economic future for themselves coming to work for you guys and having a good living. So we're going to change the way we fund our schools, and we're going to focus on our curriculum and make it much more training for the jobs that are available in today's economy. We've got to do this. More jobs, lower taxes, better school funding, and change the culture of government through term limits. Those are the 4 things that we're fighting for. And I've said any one of those could be taken off the table if you insist, Mr. Speaker or Mr. Senate President. But we've got to send a message to job creators. It's a new day, and whatever reforms we agree to have to matter. Let's not do phony reform. Let's not do partial reform. Let's have it be significant. Anything can come off the table that you want, but overall, the package has to be compelling. So when I travel the nation and travel the world on my nickel, I'm selling Illinois, people will say, we want to come. Now, we had GE. I worked hard to bring GE here. GE wanted to come. Illinois was first choice. O'Hare Airport, workforce, location, infrastructure, they wanted to come. But they said to me, Governor, please show us that you're just not going to be like Connecticut. You're just not going to keep raising taxes to cover your deficits. That you've got a structural change so you don't go down the same road Connecticut's going down. And I said, give me 6 more months. And they waited. I couldn't deliver the reforms. And they said, we can't wait around any longer. And I can't tell you how many people say, hey, Governor, you know what's keeping the companies away is we don't have a balanced budget. Just raise taxes and have a balanced budget and then companies will come. Come on. It's ridiculous. All you got to do is look at Connecticut or look at New Jersey. Let's look at New Jersey, okay? So, you know what? They have already put in a graduated income tax. They already have the highest property taxes with us in America. They can't fund their pensions. They can't grow their economy. They haven't taken on the structural changes. And they keep raising their taxes. And they can't fund their pensions. They can't get a balanced budget. They haven't taken on the conflict of interest and the imbalance between taxpayers and the special interest groups that make their money from the government. We have got to take on that balance of power, or we'll never have balanced budgets. And when our economic growth is flatlined and government spending growth is going like that, by definition, we will never have balanced budgets. We need this line going up, we need you guys booming, and we need the cost curve of government coming down. That's what we have to have it, or we'll never have balanced budgets. And when they say, Governor, well, your reform on workers' comp, that doesn't impact the budget. Baloney, it doesn't. If you guys are competitive on your workers' comp costs and you add employees and you grow, our tax base grows and we balance our budget. This ain't rocket science. We got to stop the excuses that they're spinning and not want to do reform and get reforms done. So we're going to stay the course. I'll meet every day to get it done. And I'm willing to compromise on anything, but it's got to be significant. The change has to be substantial. I'll ask you, please, write a letter to your editor. Call into your local radio station. Meet with whoever. Help. The more voices we have for reforms and a balanced budget, the more chance we have to get something done. Your help, your voice, and I got to say, Gregg's been phenomenal, Mark's been phenomenal, Bill, your team is phenomenal. Each of you has a voice in your community. Have your voice be heard. Together we'll stand strong. We can make Illinois proud and prosperous again. We should be kicking Texas' tail. We should be kicking Indiana's tail. We have the hardest working people in America in Illinois. We have the best location of any state in America. We have the best national advantages. We should be kicking tails. We got to get the regulatory burden off you guys. We got to shrink the bureaucracy. We got to get the tax burden so it's pro-growth. Tax reform pro-growth. Bring down the property tax burden, and we will thrive. I look forward to helping you do it. God bless you. Have a wonderful holiday season. Thanks very much, everybody.